Dark Souls. The game has been sitting on my Steam account for years now. I first tried to play it 2 years ago, but after an hour or two, I stopped and didn't come back. Until now. I have never played any other Souls game before, but always wanted to try. Last week, I decided to finally try to beat the game. And after almost losing my sanity, I beat it. Greetings. My name is Medionas, and this is the story of how I beat Dark Souls 1 for the first time. But first, a little prequel. I first created a warrior, leveled up the wrong stats, got destroyed on gargoyles like 15 times, and uninstalled. But I couldn't help it, and installed the next day. This time, I created an archer, thinking archery would be easier, and although it was quite easy, it was also boring. So I stopped again at the gargoyles. That's when I decided to look up a guide, to at least have a decent weapon to play with. I know it's not how you are supposed to play the game, but it was either this or quit completely. The game tells you absolutely nothing, and I wanted to have at least some kind of fun. I will do challenge runs later, but this time I wanted to also enjoy the game as well. So let's start. Like always, I started with creating my character. I picked Bandit because of the best stats for my weapon of choice. And Master Key, for obvious reasons. I spawned in my cell, like you do, and went on to conquer Dark Souls. Since I knew what to do here, I ran past the demon, got my weapon and flasks. Yep, I accidentally killed this guy. And continued to the fight. Starting with the plunging attack, which my friend told me about the first time I ever tried the game. And since I knew what to do from earlier tries that I told you about, I still almost died. I honestly have no idea what I was doing here, but luckily I healed and beat the demon. Then I was sent to Firelink Shrine. Here the quest was simple. First, get my weapon. I looked up that you can get the Zweihänder right next to Firelink Shrine. So I went to the graveyard, quickly grabbed the sword and ran back, almost dying in the process. But the first step was done. Still following the guide, I decided to pick up an ember that would eventually help me with upgrading the weapon. I wanted to have everything ready so I could focus on the game and not do this mid-game. So I went to visit the ghosts, which was not fun. I was losing my mind in this spot. At this point, I was kinda afraid that if the whole game plays like these ghosts, I won't be able to finish. But somehow I got through. Climbed the ladder, I died here like 10 times by the way. Talked to this guy and then killed him to get a key, which allowed me to drain water and get my ember. And also got this ring, which I basically never got to use anyway. And with that, I was ready to play. Finally. The beginning was easy, since I knew what to expect, and with the sword I was able to cut through the enemies with ease. When I first played, I died here a few times, but not this time. Slowly making my way through the Undead Burg, I met the Red Dragon, lit the bonfire, and went to my first real challenge, the Black Knight. I knew that you should parry him, but I didn't know when to parry, so I died. And kept dying. Until I decided to come back later. Yep, I know, what a coward. Anyway, I continued to the second boss, the Taurus Demon. Cleared the archers and triggered the fight. I then remembered that you can do a plunging attack on this guy as well. So I ran back, jumped, and just like that, half his HP was gone. The rest of the fight was easy, as the demon telegraphs his moves well in advance, and I was able to get through him on the first try. Continuing over the bridge, fighting rats, and I found myself in Undead Parish. This was the last location I really knew, before going into the unknown. My friend, that has previously played Dark Souls 1, told me that I can just run past the boar. So I got rid of these two enemies and ran straight into the boar. One fantastic dodge later, I was out of there. With a little patience I got through these zombies, got the key, and passed the fog gate. And here I realized that I love Zweihänder, because you can still deal damage even through the shield, which is amazing. Then I ran into this guy, and since I was so close to a bonfire, I didn't want to risk dying. So I baited him here and ran past to the bonfire. I talked to Andre the blacksmith and thought about what to do next. Here, my friend told me that there is a shield nearby that I could use throughout my whole run. He guided me past this boss thingy and through this garden to get the grass crest shield, which boosts your stamina recovery. I didn't mind. Little did I know that it was guarded by a black knight, who quickly showed me what real skills mean. Bye bye Darkroot Garden. After this death, I went to Gargoyles. For this big boy, we had a nice moment of shared drink before I put him into the underworld. After that, I upgraded my Zweihander to +2 and went to try it on the boss thingy in front of the garden. Honestly, this fight was surprisingly easy. After that, I noticed this elevator, which I haven't tried before, so I went there, only to realize that it puts you back to Firelink Shrine, which meant one thing. I could fight the gargoyles with 10 flasks instead of 5, which was a big help. So after almost dying to the mage and his friends, I beat him, and then my friend guided me to yet another secret, this gold armor guy. I killed him, as my friend instructed me to do so, and got a pretty cool ring. After that, I finally went to the gargoyles. Oh my god, how I hate this fight. First part of the fight was relatively easy, but once the other gargoyle joins, I lose. It took me so many tries, even with the Zweihander. I didn't know what to do, how to fight, how to deal with 2 bosses at the same time. I was just lost, dying over and over, slowly losing my sanity. For the fun of it, I then decided to go without armor, to roll faster, which proved really helpful. I could maneuver much better, and even with less resistances, I was enjoying the fight much more. I mean, I still died a lot, mainly on the road to the boss, but the faster dodges helped, and I finally beat the gargoyles. And this got me pumped. I thought after this, there is nothing that can stop me. So I got a cool new helmet and rang the first bell. And with this moment also ends everything I knew about this game, and everything after this was basically new to me. Guided by my friend, I visited Lower Undead Burg, met these nice dogs. Then I fought these guys in hoods, which were not annoying at all with their backstab mechanic. Real fun, by the way, yep. But I prevailed. It was there where I saw another fog gate. My friends started smirking, and I knew the danger was coming. So I went through. And who was on the other side? Meet Capra Demon. I dodged his first hit, I don't know how, then immediately got greeted by his 2 friends. Somehow I got far enough to be able to slash them both in a single hit. But the demon was ready to punish me for that, landing a vengeful hit for killing his buddies. I ran past him and tried to heal. And it worked, to an extent. Now it was my turn, and after one strong hit, I saw that I can stagger him with just that. So I wasted no time and repeated the same attack. Until the demon was no more. So yeah, that was Capra Demon on my first try ever. Now I know that I got carried by the weapon, but I was still happy. My friends on the other hand, not so much. They wanted me to suffer. With the key to the depths in my possession, I went there right away. And got destroyed instantly. After 2 more tries, I dispatched this butcher guy to the underworld and found another ember. With the ember in my possession, I was hell-bent on upgrading my weapon past +5. So I went further into the depths and tried to farm these leeches or whatever it is. And it didn't work at all. I got 0 drops. And also I got invaded, but somehow won fairly easily. Not long after, I met these nice frogs that gave me a really nice gift. A curse. Not only did I die instantly, but also lost my HP permanently. So, since I didn't know what to do, I went to good old pal Google to tell me how to get rid of it. After Google told me what to do, I went back to the bell tower and got cured through the purging stone, which I thought cost a fortune at that time. I got my sword to +6 and decided to backtrack a bit and check if I haven't missed something. Sure enough, I ran into this tank, who wasn't so happy to see me, and after learning that he likes to one-shot, I beat him with a few well-timed dodges and got another cool ring. After checking out the rest of the Undead Burg, it was time for a new location. Blighttown. I found out that you can get to Blighttown through Valley of Drakes, if you have the master key. So I did, because according to the wiki, you can farm shards here, which allow you to upgrade your weapon. Blighttown is a very friendly town, and I definitely didn't die on the first enemy I found. No, that would be ridiculous. But honestly, it wasn't that bad afterwards. Climbed a few platforms, jumped down a few. I read online that this location is universally hated and thought of as one of the most difficult ones. I guess I was lucky. Anyway, I got down. Thankfully found a bonfire right away, which was nice. Then I got to farming, which got my friend a bit mad because I was trying to make the game easier by upgrading my weapon. So he told me to explore first. During the exploring, I found this tree and almost fell to my death. Then, after exploring some more, I got absolutely demolished by these mushrooms. And after that, I decided to not listen to my friend and farm up. And after a while, I got my shards and was ready to upgrade. But my friend was like, no, mon chéri, you are going into that white mountain first. So I sighed and went there. I didn't expect a warm welcome, but these guys were something else. Someone might say, they rock. Get it? I beat them, but with one flask left, I wasn't very hopeful. So into the mountain I went. Mountain of cobwebs. And didn't know what to expect. I can't even describe the mix of feelings I felt when I first met Quaylak, the Chaos Witch. She, of course, didn't care about my feelings. She only cared about making me suffer. Which she did, repeatedly. After a while, a friend told me to stay close, so I did. I don't know why, but she can barely hit you when you are on her side. And with that information, I was able to beat her and ring the second bell. After that, I met Daughter of Chaos, and she was kind enough to upgrade my Estus flask. Also, I know I kinda skipped the depths. I'll be honest, I completely forgot it existed after Blighttown. But don't worry, I went back. A bit late, but still. After Daughter of Chaos, I visited this lava-filled land. I saw a fog gate right at the beginning, so I went there. On the way up, I was wondering why am I seeing so many bloodstains. I ran past this weird orange monster, which was surprisingly friendly, and picked up a full armor set. And you know that friendly monster I was talking about just now? Not so friendly anymore, so yep, bye bye my HP. But I returned again. Now I understood why I was seeing so many bloodstains on the way up. Surprisingly, I got a lot of hits in, getting the boss down to half HP. And with my hopes up, thinking that I can beat him, I died right after, getting basically one shot. Rethinking my life choices, I decided to leave him for now, and went back. At the shrine, I met this nice weird looking dragon. He told me what to do next, and I listened. I got my sword to +9, and went to the gate that was opened just a few moments earlier by the big dude. Welcome to Sen's Fortress. Immediately upon entering, I was greeted by two snake dudes, who were pretty fast and strong, but not strong enough to beat me. Right past them was a nice little surprise. I was kinda surprised to see Takeshi's castle, but whatever. At least something new, right? And it wasn't very difficult. At least for now. It definitely started to get spicy above, where you do the same thing, but this time you have this fella shooting electricity at you. I don't know what I was thinking, but I decided to dodge on this ledge. And yep, that was that. Smart. Thankfully, I got past on the second try. I got bit in the process, but I was through, at least. Then I met this guy. And his friend Rock. Nothing too difficult. Until I met his friend Rock up close. And that hurt. Back to the start again. It was pretty hard to figure out where to go. I found this lever and moved this rock out of the way. Then I got all the way to the top. Let's go! Only to get instantly demolished by this guy throwing bombs at you. But on the way back I noticed that the rock I moved actually opened a new way. So I followed that. Of course almost died in the process. But I found a soul! Yay! Worth it, I guess. I then continued back, and on the same path that was already clear of the rock, the game suddenly decided, hey, rock is back! For some reason. Safe to say, I was getting pretty pissed off at this point. Then I remembered that I got the anti-fire ropes, so I wore them to be better prepared for the bomb. And instead died to the rock immediately after. So I came back again, only to die right before the bombs. This time to the swinging thingies. After some time, I was back. Again. For like the 10th time. And this time, prepared for the fire with my amazing ropes. I was ready. Nothing could go wrong. So I went up, took a wrong turn, and died. Anyway, on the next try, I got to the top. And even found a bonfire. Also, the fortress gave me a good amount of shards. So I went back to Andre, and there I was able to get my weapon to plus 12. I knew that I was very close to getting plus 15 weapon, so I looked up where to get resources to reinforce the weapon even more. Vicky told me to go farm dark raids in New Londo. Yeah, that area they gave me a headache right at the start of my journey. So I went back. Long story short, I died a lot, okay? Obviously. There's not much to talk about here. Except this sick pose that the raid did. Look at him. Guy could be a model. And with the resources gathered, my weapon was now plus 14. All I needed was one last thing. Following the wiki, once again, I was told to go back to the starting area of the game. After cosplaying as an egg, I was transported back to the Undead Asylum. Reunited with the Torch guys. I was not happy to see them, but I got through them and went to the asylum. Here I found out that I'm indeed too fat and broke the floor, under which was waiting another demon. I figured that this was the guy I kept hearing the steps of in the beginning of the game. So I died a few times, but ultimately this was not a very hard boss, so I beat him fairly quickly. And he gave me a slap. The final piece to complete my plus 15 weapon. So I returned and reinforced the weapon for the last time, earning me an achievement as well. And what my dumbass didn't realize, I had to go through the fortress again, because I'm dumb. Okay. Luckily I was already prepared and this time passed with no trouble at all. Straight to the top. Here I cleared the way, got revenge on the guy throwing bombs. That felt so good. And so it was time to go through the fog gate. I fully expected a boss fight, and that's what I got. Hyped and full of hope, I decided to dodge his ranged attack at the exact spot I could fall off. So that was that. My friend laughing his ass off also didn't help. So I fought my way back, and this time made sure to dodge safely. Now, I don't know if it was because of my weapon, but this fight felt incredibly easy. Definitely one of the most easiest bosses in this game. Maybe even the second easiest, if I don't count the Taurus demon and Asylum demon. So after defeating Iron Golem, I was once again transported, this time to Anor Londo. This place looked amazing, the cinematic, the music, I was in awe. It was at this point that my friend told me to start crying. Way to get my hopes up, huh? I fought my way through the first 3 nights, barely surviving. Then I found a bonfire and talked to this woman in gold. I continued and met another 2 knights. They were guarding 2 chests and I wanted what was inside of them. I was quickly reminded what it feels like to get slammed on with a shield twice your size. but on my second try, I was able to beat them both, happily getting the items I wanted. Well, I got one and then got eaten by a chest. A chest. Yes! I don't know how I got through the whole game without getting eaten, but here we are. Fair to say, I was a bit mad. With that amazing experience behind me, I decided to not go there anymore and rather go straight. After a flight of stairs, I was reunited with my old nemesis, the gargoyle. This time, thankfully, only one, beating it with ease. I didn't know where to go next and my friend wasn't telling me, so I had to figure it out on my own. Eventually, I realized that I probably have to go over this ledge. Of course, I am pretty good at platformers, so it was a piece of cake. But still, even with my expertise, I wasn't very happy when I saw the path in front of me. Even less when I saw these guys waiting for me. But I managed to get through on my first try. Somehow. Beginner's luck, I guess? And also the shield helped a lot. One pretty funny message later, cheers, I met another gargoyle, and once again prevailed with ease. Then I checked the hole I just climbed through from the floor you are supposed to be on, and found a pretty cool armor, which I could wear and still keep my medium roll if I used the ring. And with my new outfit, I continued. After beating the knight once again, I was greeted by what looked like gargoyles, but inside out? If you watch the show Friends, I'm sure you will get that reference. These guys were not very fun, like at all. Here I was also reminded that, hey, every time you die, you will walk 1,000 miles to get back. Isn't that fun? I wasn't in Anor Londo that long, but I was beginning to despise it. Anyway, I made my way back and died a few times. But I got through eventually, only to be reminded that I'm playing Dark Souls and I'm here to suffer and not have fun. I gotta say, these two archers are possibly the most infuriating thing I have encountered in this game. Oh my god, I was losing my mind at this part. Even more so when I realized I could have gotten past them on my first try, because the guy on the right fell down, but I went for the guy on the left too, thinking that they don't respawn, so what's the big deal, right? Well, they do respawn. Oh my lord. The run back, the inside out gargoyles, and then these two just shooting non-stop. After a lot of tries, I decided to go for the right one, and somehow got in a position where the guy on the left wasn't shooting me. So I killed the first one and quickly ran past. I was so happy. I could finally chill for a bit because I found a bonfire. And after roaming for a while, I also found a fog gate. Before entering, my friend told me one thing. If you beat this first try, I'm not talking to you anymore. Well, I probably got carried by the weapon, but I really did beat Ornstein and Smaug on the first try. I don't even know how, honestly. I was dealing so much damage to them. It kind of just happened. So obviously, my friend was slightly pissed. I can understand why. I checked later what is considered the hardest boss in Dark Souls 1, and these guys usually end up in the top 3 at least. I guess luck was on my side that day. I then fell in love, ready to kneel, only for my friend to say that I should shoot her. The laugh was quick, but I will forever cherish our moments together. Anyway, I shot her, and she disappeared. I got the Lord Vessel, and someone turned off the electricity. So I went back through the dark Anor Londo, back to the Firelink Shrine. Here, the friendly dragon sent me to some fire altar and explained what it all means. Fog gates opened around the whole world, and I had my quest shown. Beat for bosses, get their souls, and that will help me progress at this altar. Sounds simple enough? Well, it wasn't simple at all! My mission was ready, and I was ready too, so it was time to finally finish the game, once and for all. At this point, I didn't know that I have like a whole second half of the game in front of me, and the first location I chose to go to were the Catacombs. Honestly, not much to say here. Pretty straightforward area. It's dark, grim. The enemies respawn until you kill this weird fire-tossing dude. It was kinda meh. I didn't have many issues going through the location. At one point, I jumped into a coffin and got sent into the Tomb of Giants, where nothing happened, so I went back. After venturing deeper, I encountered these spinning guys. And when I saw them, my first instinct was to dodge and run, so I didn't try to fight them at all. Looking back, I think that was a very good idea. Okay, I killed one, but that's it. After another fog gate, I jumped down into this weird looking room and was greeted by yet another boss, dude called Pinwheel. Now again, I don't know what he was doing. It seemed that he was more interested in dancing than damaging me. And I beat him with zero trouble. If it is really that easy, it probably is the easiest boss fight in this game, hands down. And after reading this message, I'm pretty sure that he's just that easy. But I didn't get a soul. I honestly thought that that was the Catacombs boss. Oh boy, was I wrong. The path continued into the darkness. Literally. I reached a point where I couldn't see at all. I tried twice before I googled if you can light the way with something. I read some things about it and found that you can either use a torch, lantern, or some weird maggot. I didn't have any of that on me and didn't want to waste time here, so I thought, whatever, I'll come back later. So that was the end of Catacombs for now. Instead, I decided to check out the garden that I was in earlier. The place where I got my shield. Enemies here weren't that difficult, at least in the beginning. These trees pose no threat, I thought. Well, they didn't, but these knights certainly did. With their magic thingy, I could barely move and greeted the afterlife right after that. Second try went more smoothly and I got through. Not long after, I ran into a fog gate, and behind that, a boss fight. A butterfly. Cute. I spent a good chunk of the fight just running around and dodging. Nothing too difficult, to be honest. The butterfly then flew down and I was able to kill it in 3 hits. I think I should have gone into this area earlier. Anyway, got a basement key from a dead guy that looks too similar to Andre, and continued exploring. During the exploring, I found a lake and was genuinely surprised to find a boss here? A Hydra. Friend told me to not get too close because of the ledge, which I was very thankful for, because my first instinct was to run up close. Of course, I died here once or twice, but ultimately, thanks to my plus 15 weapon, I got through the Hydra quickly. Only to cross paths with these badges or whatever, and die right after. I got past the second time, since one of them got stuck, thank God. And right after that, I met a cute little doggo called Sif. He didn't like me very much, and didn't have a problem with showing me. After I saw the run back, and my friend telling me that it's much shorter if I somehow open this gate, I googled again. Vicky told me to buy Crest of Artorias from Andre, and with that I would be able to open the gate. So that's what I did. I bought the item from him, and when I wanted to leave I accidentally attacked instead and hit him. And I didn't know what to do, and also didn't want to kill Andre. So I got to Google once again and learned that I can be absolved from my sins if I talk to the mage at the bell tower. Then I could go back and open the gate, which made the run back to Sif much better. Sif, on the other hand, I was so surprised. He was so fast and agile. First few fights I couldn't even hit him properly. It took some time, but I was able to beat him, thankfully. And he dropped the Covenant of Artorias. I didn't know what it was, why he dropped it, or anything. I didn't even bother looking it up. I kinda just ignored it, because I was so happy to beat him. But after Sif, it was essentially Darkroot Garden completed, and I could move on. This time, back to the depths. Because I finally remembered that they exist, and I kinda skipped the whole location. Oh, and also, I picked up a doll back in the asylum. To the depths! Once again, here, in the water. This time, I was pretty careful and tried not to get cursed again. by avoiding the frogs entirely. Good plan indeed. Going through the depths, I really didn't have any troubles, since I was probably overleveled. So I first destroyed this big rat, one shot by the way, and then continued to the boss, the gaping dragon. And I gotta say, that is the weirdest looking boss ever. What even is that? Can you even call that a dragon? Whatever. With my plus 15 weapon, the boss fight was really not a problem at all. And the dragon fell quickly beneath my sword. Oh, and I got a Blighttown key. Yay! I wonder what's in Blighttown. Because I haven't been there yet, for sure. After clearing the depths, I decided to get revenge on the lava golem guy. Ceaseless discharge. So, here I was again, fighting this guy. With my rope ready, I was sure I can succeed this time. And I did. I literally powered through, because I could basically tank the hits, heal, and still get hits in. So it wasn't really a problem. What I don't understand is, how are you supposed to beat this guy if you don't have the level that I do? I mean, this is just undodgeable, no? I got hit with this every single time. After the beatdown, something changed and I could walk on the lava. So I went to explore the area. I was surprised to see my old friend here, Capra Demon. And just like the first time, he got beat badly. Then I saw another old friend, the Taurus Demon. Not one, not two, but 6! I mean, fighting this many at the same time was not very fun, and after dying a few times I realized that the path doesn't even continue past them. There's just some item, so I went the other way. After an armor change and a few extra Capra demons later, I killed the worm and got to yet another boss. The demon Fire Sage, a flaming brother of the Asylum demon, basically. This one was no problem at all. His explosions were kinda annoying, but I could thankfully withstand those. After beating this guy, the journey continued. I went down, found a path over this road, and ran into yet another fog gate. I was thinking at that time that this place is full of bosses. And this time I was fighting Centipede Demon. The fight itself wasn't very hard. The biggest problem for me was the camera. I couldn't move much because there was lava everywhere, and because of that, the whole screen was taken over by the demon. I also almost died because he pushed me into the lava. I have no idea how I survived this, and I definitely should have kept my ropes on. But he still lost. Another boss slain without dying. Immediately after the fight, I put on my fire resistant ropes and lava protection ring. With my fire protection clothes, I could continue through the lava straight to Lost Izalith. This area is not very fun. I was trying to avoid the big guys the whole time, and later I found out on the wiki that they can kill you. Thank God I stayed away. But I spent a good chunk of my time just trying to figure out where to go. It wasn't very nice or fun. Also found a hidden bonfire. Great place to put it in, by the way. Seriously, what the hell. Once again, there is not much to talk about except the boss, so after going through the whole area, I reached another fog gate and another boss fight. The Bed of Chaos. And I just have one question. What were the devs thinking? I didn't know what to do, how to deal damage. I just died and didn't know how to progress. I got mad eventually and found on the wiki that you don't even fight the boss, the good old-fashioned way. But instead, the game turns into some arcade BS where you have to destroy the blobs on each side and then you can kill it. Oh man, I didn't like this boss fight at all. After getting the first blob, I was caught off guard by the ground falling off, and I fell off with it. Then I went for the second blob. You know what's the worst thing about this boss? The run back. Like, the amount of distance I walked just to get to this bad boss was infuriating. And knowing what waited at the end of that road, even more so. After the blobs, I was supposed to go in the middle. Well, of course, I missed a couple of tries until I finally got through and killed the boss. Soul acquired. I think this might be the worst designed boss in the whole game. But this journey had one positive thing. I found these little insects, so naturally I tried to kill a few, and behold, the Sunlight Maggot. I remembered the name. Suddenly, I had what I needed to get through Catacombs. So that's where I went next. I had to run through like last time, but it wasn't very problematic. I knew where to go, sort of, and it didn't take long to get to the dark area. But here I struggled. Even with the helmet, it was really difficult. There was danger waiting at every corner. So I died a few times, naturally, and continued. Then I got pushed down by this guy. And talked to some random girl. Then I had to protect her against other warriors in the area, only for her to die anyway to the skeletons. Oh well, what can you do, right? At the end of Catacombs, I found another boss. Nito. He destroyed me the first few tries. He screamed, I died. Repeat. I didn't know how to dodge it, until I learned the timing, which took a while. Also, he kept me spawning skeletons and I barely got to move from my spawn. Then my friend told me that I want to stay at the spawn anyway, because if I ran around I would just get more skeletons attacking me. So that was good, at least. And when I finally learned to dodge the range attack, Nito came closer to find me melee, which was so nice. These skeletons weren't a big problem since I mostly killed them while trying to swing on Nito. Zweihander is the best, by the way. And even Nito's magic wasn't a big issue, and soon, even the Gravelord himself fell. Second soul acquired. What a day. Next open path was at Anor Londo. And by passing this tunnel, I entered Duke's archives. This area was kinda simple. Skeletons weren't that annoying. I mean, they were stronger, but I knew how to fight them from the Undead Burg. So I fought my way through pretty easily. Upon reaching the top, I met Seed, the friendly dragon. He killed me instantly. I didn't even get to hit him once. Safe to say, I was a bit mad. Thankfully, it was all part of the script, but I got stuck in this cell and didn't know what to do. Eventually, I figured it out and could continue. Bells rang and these blue guys came out. I first ran to a ladder I saw to my left, and then tried to walk on this ledge only to die in the process, so that was nice. So then I decided to go right instead. I searched through a few cells and chests until I found a key, which opened the big doors at the top. And after a while I found another bonfire and explored some more. The archives changed into a small forest that ended with a crystal cave. At first I was genuinely surprised by how the place looked. It was completely different than anything I saw before in the game. But looks aside, I wasn't very happy with how the place was. The whole cave is a maze. Oh my god, it took me so long to find the right path. Oh, and I had to somehow figure out to walk on invisible paths. In a game where one death means lost souls. Amazing. So naturally, I died a few times. I figured it out eventually, but oh my god, I wish I didn't have to go through this location. At the end, I met these clams, I guess? And behind them, the dragon. Again. I dodge his crystals, only to realize that every damage I deal to him, he heals instantly. My frustration was at its peak. Now at the fact that he can curse you, and also the run back. You got the perfect combination. What a fun experience that was. So I had to go back and get the purging stone. I bought 2 stones, just in case. But I didn't get cursed after that. Anyway, I died and died. Then I realized that the weapon behind him might do the trick. So I ran to it and nothing happened. I didn't know what to do, honestly, so I looked it up Turns out I was supposed to destroy the weapon or whatever. So I did destroy it and died anyway. After what felt like an eternity, I finally beat him. Third soul and hatred towards Crystal Cave acquired. Before the fourth and final soul, I was told to use the doll I found back in the asylum. Turns out that if you have the doll, you can examine this painting in Anor Londo and you get sent to the painted world. Painted world. Not much to say, a pretty weird area. Met some new creatures, killed the dragon on the bridge, and used the shortcut to get to the fog gate. Yes, I looked it up. At this point I was so worn out by the Crystal Cave that I didn't have the energy to look around and figure stuff out. Then I got to the fog gate, behind which was Priscilla. A nice lady, I thought. I gotta stop believing my first impressions in this game. She wasn't very nice, as usual. So we fought for like 2 seconds before she turned invisible and completely destroyed me. I came back and died again. To bleed, I think. Third time's the charm, right? Well, surprisingly, it was. I was much more careful on my third attempt. Even found out that you can see her footprints in the snow. And with that knowledge, I was able to beat her no problem. Bye bye, Priscilla. Got an achievement and back to the normal world. Whee! Back in Anor Londo, I found out that I missed another boss here as well. And I went to fix that mistake. I was so happy to see a bonfire right before the fog gate. I thought that the devs finally made the right decision. I went in and met Gwendolyn. At first I thought, this is easy. Then her magic went straight through the wall and I almost broke my table. And to add salt to the injury, the game just decided to ignore the bonfire in front of the fog gate and sent me right at the beginning of Anor Londo. This is so stupid, I can't even. Anyway, after going through the wiki and read it again, the fastest way back, turns out, is to go back to Sen's Fortress, and from here, warp to the bonfire in front of the gate. Yes, you can warp to it, but you can't respawn on it. This is just pathetic. If this is intentional, it's really extremely dumb. This time I wore different armor to get fast rolls going, and continued fighting. I died a few times, but it didn't take long to finally get the hang of it. I got one hit in right before she teleported away every time, and soon she perished. And with her, every boss in Anor Londo was defeated. And another achievement earned. Getting close to the end with each step, it was time for the last soul. And to find it, I had to go back to New Londo Ruins. I'm not going to talk about this location much. I was here twice already, got past the ghosts, got my ember and shards, but this time it was only about getting to the boss. To be able to fight the boss, I needed a special ring, which dropped from Sif, so I put it on and jumped into the abyss to face the 4 kings. My spatial awareness was absolutely wrecked in the dark. I didn't know how close the spell was and eventually got hit by it. I still did well until there were 2 kings fighting me at the same time and I ultimately died. On the second try, however, I made sure to go as fast as possible so I don't have to face 2 of them at the same time again. And it worked. I beat them on the second try, and with that I had all the souls ready for the final boss. But I suddenly remembered there is also a DLC. I checked the wiki to see if I can do the DLC after the final boss, and I was told that no, I need to go to the DLC first. I was a bit sad, disappointed even. I thought the game is almost over, only to find out that I still have 5 bosses before me. And so the DLC path began. So I did the absolutely ridiculous DLC activation that this game has. Kill this golem, talk to this girl, kill this golem, get the pendant, and go back to the previous spot. Here I was sucked in some void and the DLC started. Immediately upon arrival, I was reminded that here in the DLC, the bosses are very different. First, I got challenged by the Sanctuary Guardian. Oh my god, it was so freaking fast. My medium roll couldn't handle it at all. After 3 deaths, I gave up my armor for speed, and it worked. I could dodge fast enough, but my weapon was still pretty slow, and I still died. But I was getting closer with each attempt. And on the next try, the Guardian fell. And I have to say, up until that point, it was the best and most fun boss in the game yet. I loved the speed. Instead of waiting constantly, you had to be active all the time. It was a very nice change. So I put my armor back on and continued. And it didn't take long to run into yet another boss. King Artorias. You know, when I talked about the speed of the first boss, I was starting to sense a pattern here in the DLC. Artorias was so incredibly fast as well. So I took my armor off again, and boy oh boy was I having fun. The run back wasn't that long, the fight was entertaining, fast, and I was genuinely having a lot of fun, even when I was dying. I loved the design of the boss, his moveset, everything. Easily my favorite Dark Souls 1 boss, without a doubt. I needed a few tries, but I beat him. I don't know how many times I died because I didn't count, but it wasn't that much. I continued past these stupid mages into a cave, where I found the boss number 3. I know I'm skipping a lot, but the journey between bosses wasn't that entertaining anyway. So who was the boss number 3? Manus, Father of the Abyss. Oh man, where do I begin? Even this guy was extremely fast, but combined with the darkness and him matching the background, it was so hard to see what moves he's using. So I got destroyed, again and again and again. Then I got him to half health, and guess what? He destroyed me again, but this time with magic. Jesus. Easily the hardest boss in the entire game. I struggled so much. It took me at least like 20 tries minimum. It was probably more. I didn't keep count. It took around 2.5 hours total, I think, and the run back also wasn't very nice. It wasn't as bad as others, but still, it was annoying. Towards the end, I found out that you can repel his magic if you get the silver pendant from a location earlier in the DLC. So I went back and got it. With the pendant, the flight was still incredibly hard. But with it, I was finally able to beat him. I was so happy. The only thing missing was the dragon, Calamite. This dude was nice enough to help me shoot him with an arrow, so it was easier to fight him. And on my second try, I almost beat him. It was so close, but I got greedy. I naturally thought that this will be easy since I got so close so early. It wasn't. After that try, I couldn't even get close to that amount of HP again for so many tries. This boss was very hard. Also, his wrath thingy that makes you take double damage for a while is also very nice indeed. The dragon has some questionable hitboxes as well, but I beat him. Took like 15 tries, definitely. Probably the second hardest boss, now that I think about it. And with him, DLC was done, and I was ready for the final challenge. To complete the set, I went to Undead Burg and killed the bridge dragon as well, which was easy. I warped to the altar, gave the souls away, and walked through the gate to the Kiln of the First Flame. The whole area was covered in dust. Path protected by black knights. It looked like the end, literally. I beat the knights and got to the gate. This was it. The final boss. The final challenge. Gwyn. First I tried to play passively and check out his moveset, so I know what to expect. But I got demolished. Being passive didn't work. After a terrible run back, seriously, why do they do this? Dodging the knights, I wanted revenge. Gwyn jumped at me right away, but I parried him and got in the first hit. After that, I struggled again, got impaled once and eventually died. Not gonna lie, I was getting really tired of this terrible run back. The fourth try started terribly. I got stabbed through the fog gate, but was able to heal right before Gwyn jumped me. I missed once, but then got in another successful parry. And even had time to heal in between. Right on time to be able to parry again. I was so close. He was low HP, so I locked on and decided to finish him with a strong attack. Yep, bad idea. Thankfully, I parried him again right after and won the fight. This one was surprisingly easy. Then I linked the fire and died, I think. I don't know exactly, but it was the end. My first Souls game done. Dark Souls 1 conquered. I'll probably make another video where I review the game and also want to try some challenge runs in the future. But until then, thanks for watching and farewell.